Do you have a question? No. Okay.
You said, did you say the irrational beings?
Irrational being are the plants, the trees, the
How do they
birds.
benefit?
Yes, how do they benefit? Okay, so the question is, how do the irrational being benefit? Okay, so the God created the entire universe in view of mankind, and He created us in view of God. Okay, now everything in the universe is centered around human being. They exist for the humans in a way. Okay, but rather they exist for God operating in the humans, for God's will to operate in us. So when the fall took place, nature rebelled against mankind, because now mankind do not live in the divine world that animate creation. So that's why the animals could hurt us. The insect could bite us. We could get hurt. That wasn't the case before the fall. Before the cold, there was no extreme heat or extreme cold. It was like a perfect spring weather all the time. The trees would not have diseases. The permanent fruits. You wouldn't have pests that eat your crop or extreme weather that affects your crop. That is all the result of the fall, because mankind no longer living in the divine will. Because God designed the divine will to operate within the human will. So for God to operate in man as partnership, as perfect partnership, as perfect unity of the two. And when the divine will left man, that man is left only with the human will. And the human will on its own is not designed to work like this. So it reaps chaos. And creation could affect us, could hurt us. So when we return and the divine will lives in the soul, creation return back to how it's meant to be. So everything is improved. This extreme weather, you start getting less of them. The insect biting us, you start getting less of them. And when the era of the divine world comes, and people in the masses live in the divine world, you would see a transformed earth. You wouldn't have extreme weathers, you wouldn't have tsunamis, you wouldn't have volcanoes eruption. Everything will change, because what did Jesus says? He says it's the spirit that gives life, not the matter. It's the spirit. So it's God. When the divine will operate in man in the way it should be from the start, then a creation would change. And St. Paul says in chapter 8 in Romans, he says he must have had a vision into the future to say that all of creation is waiting. When will this day come when the children of God, the true children of God, the children of the divine world, they come, so that our corruption cycle would end, would cease. So when the era of the divine will reign on earth in this new era of peace, the Eucharistic reign of Jesus, the triumph of the Immaculate Heart of Mary, when the masses are living in the divine will, creation, the earth will be a transformed place.
So you said the animals rebelled against us.
All of it, the animals, the
Because
weather.
they knew that the divine will was no longer in us.
Exactly.
So it upset
Yes.
them in some way.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And when Jesus said, give a title to the divine will, what is the title? The return, the call of the creature, the call to the creatures, to the order, the divine will order, to the place. He said the place, the Garden of Eden, which was the perfect place of living on earth, to the place. So there is a return. So there is the physical world on earth will be transformed. as well. So to the order, to the place, he said the place, and to the purpose for which they were created by God.
So Sam, that's the new heaven and new earth.
Yes, exactly. The book of Revelation, the new heavens and the new earth. Why did it say the new earth? Because it's destined to be a new earth, a transformed earth. Yeah, I know, it's mind blowing.
So you never not going to heaven with this new earth?
No, no. The earth is a transition. The earth is the place where God is operating in faith in the creature who is living in faith, hope, and love. There will always need to be an element of faith on earth, even in the era of the divine world. There is always the need for faith and the need for the sacraments. So we will always need the priests, the ministerial priests, even though each soul is a priest, a common priest in the divine will. But we will always need the ministerial priest and our bishops on earth, even in the era of the divine will, because the earth is like the theater, it's like the place where all of the universe eyes are on, where all these divine lives are formed. It's the place where the drama takes place, it's the place where you are tested. It's the place of work. And when we go to heaven, we will cease to be able to generate divine lives, and we will cease to gain more merits in heaven, because that period is gone. But we will carry on with our mission, but it will be different. We will be helping our brothers and sisters from heaven to for them to live in the divine one on earth. So we will be like Our Lady saying to us, please be my hands and pray. So we would be like encouraging our brothers and sisters to live in the divine world from heaven. But we will not be able to generate divine lives, because can only take place on earth. That's why it's vital. You cannot waste your time. When you receive this office, it's too precious to waste on, I know, listening to irrelevant videos, or it's okay to see messages and serious, but to a measure. Don't wait. Be focused on the office you've been entrusted to. This is our office. The Lord called us and chosen us for this. So by not doing our office, we are depriving the saints in heaven, people in purgatory, people on earth, from a tremendous good.
So we are benefiting them in our own
Yes,
acts,
yes.
but they can't do anything for us.
No, they can pray. People in heaven, saints in heaven, can pray for us. Of course, they can pray for us. But what they cannot do is they cannot divinize acts. They cannot generate divine lives, because their time is up. That can only be done when a soul lives in faith, hope, and faith, hope, and love on earth. Tested, tempted by the devils, by the world, by the flesh, can only take place in the time and the place of testing, which is the earth. Okay, so some people ask common practical questions. Yeah, I'm gonna go through some practical question people ask. So people say to me, so when I do an actual act, when does it start and end? Yeah. So for example, I'm sitting with a friend and catching up, and we're drinking a cup of coffee or tea or a drink. Yeah. So that act of socializing, the act of drinking tea, coffee with a friend, is a good act. Does Jesus want it? Yes. Can it become a divine act? Yes, of course. It's charity to sit with someone and talk and enjoy a cup of tea or coffee or whatever together, sharing food and drink. It's something good. And we know that the Lord went to the wedding feast and he drank wine and he shared wine. He provided wine for everyone. So it's a good act. It's not a sinful act. So because it's a good act, it can be incorporated and become a divine act. Okay, it can be done. So when does the act start? So you can say before you meet the friend, I can say, Lord, I will affuse myself. Jesus, you and me speak with the friend. You and me socialize. You and me eat. Let's eat together. Drink, have a drink. And so that means you taking everything that goes with it, from picking up the cup, drinking, processing, digesting, speaking. You're taking all that into the equation. Yeah. So don't be too scrupulous about, oh, I didn't say this, so it didn't count. No. That's why in the morning, just a minute. That's why in the morning we do the prevenient act. Prevenient act in the morning. Because what we say to the Lord, Lord, I want this whole day. I anticipate what is going to happen this day. I want everything that is to be done in that day done with you, Jesus, in the divine will. And if I fail, Lord, to remember to involve you, you do it for me. And he does it for you. Yeah. So, but it's good to try to remember as much as you can to involve the Lord, because that is kind of thrive. That's called the actual desire. How to explain it? When you do a barbecue, you have the coal, it's on fire. What do you need to do every now and then? You set the fire, but every now and then you need to, tweak it, just stir it, fan it, So the actual act is like this. It's like fanning it. It's like, bringing the flame up again, this. So it's kind of fanning it, So you don't need to be too scrupulous. Oh, I didn't say it, it didn't count. No, but try to remember to do the actual act as well. Yeah. So before you, for example, I don't know, you do an exercise. Jesus, I want to do that exercise with you in the divine will. Okay. And when you finish the exercise and you go back home, or you can say, I want to do my cooking with you, Jesus. I want to do my washing with you, Jesus. I want to have my shower. Even that, it's a good act, right? What do we do if we don't have a shower? We will, nobody would want to see us, we would smell, we wouldn't even bear ourselves. So it's a good act. So all of these good things, eating food, can be done in the divine will. Yeah. So talking about eating food, I have something that will make you laugh with Luisa Picaretta. So she fused herself in eating food. Yeah, she's eating. Yeah, and her mom cooks something really delicious, and she had one portion, and she put her hand to take the other portion, and Jesus said, "No, don't take it. Offer it as a sacrifice." I'm like, "Oh, Jesus is my mom is okay." Yeah. So okay. Okay, so I don't really know that he said it to Luisa. I don't know if it will apply to you, but yeah. I can relate to that. I can feel the Lord will say it to me when something really delicious. Second, I could have another one. Okay. Yes. So yes. Question.
It's everybody that I met, they say
Speak up, Mariam, so they can hear
the
you.
divine will is really looking good,
Yeah.
but they cannot wrap up their heads when they say about the saints that have the double glory, because like each one of us is called to become saints.
Yeah.
So when you talk about we are helping the saints, they just like stuck.
They
It's
stuck.
like-
Okay, how we help? It's Jesus helping the saints. He's helping them because what was the original plan? The original plan before the fall was for every single human being to live in the divine will and by their acts and rounds in their earthly life benefit every single person. God intended that every created human being benefits the entire order of creation in a divine way. So each person would receive the benefit of each other created human living their life to the full. That was the intention. That was plan A. But the fall came and ruined that plan. So what is God now doing since Louisa? Those saints in heaven have missed out on plan A. Would God leave them missing out? No way. So that era from Louisa to the end of the world, when the world ceases, the last person created on earth, he wants them to compensate so that those who lived in heaven and did not live in the divine world, they would receive the benefit of a plan A, as if no one failed. So they wouldn't miss out on anything. So if the souls and divine world cannot do that, that means that some souls will go to heaven loaded with the divine world acts, and some souls in heaven with no fault of their own, like Saint Francis of Assisi and Benedict, missing out. Is that fair? No way. God will not do that. He wants everyone to benefit everyone because he's love, he's sheer love. And love is to give. And love makes the gift common, makes it common. So if God did not do it in that way, allow the souls living in the divine to divinize the acts of the saint, they would be missing out. So that is why God does it.
So the three steps, as you said, the transtemporal, universal, and multiplication,
Yes,
did not apply while they were doing the will of God.
that's right. They did not apply. They were living in a human will. They were living in their human will. And when they reached the mystical state, for example, mystical marriage, they started living in the divine mode. So it's in union with the Christ. So they would benefit others, but not in the divine will. They had no ability to benefit everyone and everything transtemporal, universal, and in a multiplied way. They had no ability to do it. No ability to do it. But from the time of Louisa, God started the saints who will do it for them. Yeah, who will do it for them. And that's including us. Including us. Is that clear? Yeah, yeah. All right, so we've got, yes, Jarikot? Yes, unmute yourself. We cannot hear you. Okay.
Hello, Sam.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. I'm Pauline. I didn't put my hand up. It must have been a mistake. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, no worries. Okay. Right. Okay. So that's one of the questions I get asked. Another one is someone says, "Well, I haven't got an hour to pray my hours of the Passion, a full hour. Shall I abandon it?" And the answer is no. If you don't have a whole hour to pray the hours of the Passion, it does not matter. What matters is you do what you can, not what you cannot. So we have a rota where everybody has allocated a slot, an hour to pray, but they don't have to spend 60 minutes. You know, there might be times when someone is carrying a cross, a heavy cross, and they are suffering, in which case they could only pray a paragraph. Yeah. What matter is the desire and the intensity of love. You know, so you do what you can. So just because you don't have a physical 60-minute hour to do the hour. It doesn't mean you give up. Do what you can. The same with the rounds as well. If you don't have a full time, you can just say Jesus, together, Jesus, together, my love. Just these things, enough. If you don't have the time. Yeah, and another question is, how often should I remember throughout the day to fuse and do my acts and rounds in the divine world? Well, try to remember as much as you can. As much as you can. But if you can't remember, it's okay. Times fear you don't remember, Jesus will do it for you. As he said to Louisa, he said, well, I've done it for you. I fused you. Remember you did your prevenient act in the morning? So I anticipated it, I did it for you. So don't worry. Just try your best and he will do the rest. Your Father Joseph keeps saying that. Do your best and God do the rest. Okay. Any more questions about fusing or rounds? Any basic question? No? Everything clear? Okay. So I was going to do a visual on the sons and the divine lives, but we're running out of time. So maybe I'll leave it for next session, if that is okay. Margaret, yes.
I loved when you were talking about the your prevenient act, the simple one.
Yes.
I anticipate my acts for this day. And how did you word it exactly?
Yes, that is what the act is about, is anticipation. You're anticipating all the acts that will take place. And you're saying to the Jesus, whatever happened in my day, I want everything to be done with you. And I'm going to try my best to remember to fuse that acts. But if I don't, you do it for me. That is really, in effect, what you're saying, Margaret.
So you're saying kind of like, I anticipate my acts for this day and I fuse myself
Yes,
with you.
Yes. It's like someone who says, I anticipate today I'm going to travel by car, I'm going to go to work, come back home, have a shower, have dinner. You kind of anticipate what will take place more or less, and you say to Jesus, whatever happened, I anticipate this. Of course, it may not happen like this, but for anything that will happen through my day, Lord, I want it done in your divine will. So Jesus, I'm saying this in advance to you, Lord. So if I forget, you do it on my behalf. Does that make sense?
It does. But you know what throws me, Sam, is this idea of fusing, because for the longest time, I was saying, Jesus, I fuse myself in this act. I fuse myself with you in this act of driving. I fuse myself with you in this, and it sounded like I was doing all the work. And a divine well priest who I know is who was actually trained with it in seminary, which is wonderful. But he told me, no, invite Jesus into your act. Simply invite him in. I invite you into my act of eating. And
Yeah,
he does the movement of joining our souls and performing the act and creating a divine act. That I'm not the one who's making this happen. Jesus is making it happen.
Yes.
So I struggle with the words. I like this and I want it done in your will.
Yes.
But this whole idea where I say, I fuse myself, Jesus, drive in my driving, Jesus, speak in my voice. It seems like I'm commanding Jesus to do things. And it's really, I'm the recipient.
Yes, correct, Margaret. It's just the wording, but what you said is correct. It's Jesus. I use the word Jesus wants to, and I want to do it with Jesus. I put Jesus first. That's the way I do it. I don't even say I fuse, because when I say Jesus wants to do it, I'm implying the fusing anyway. That's the way I do it, because I find it difficult to start with the I. But it's not commanding Jesus. It's like a child saying, Mommy, Daddy, let's do this. It's like this. It's like a request of a child, not a command. But I see what you mean, Margaret, because I too find myself much more comfortable to start with Jesus than mention myself.
Thank you. Yeah, that helps.
Yeah, thank you. That's a good contribution. Thank you.